What's up everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Summoner's Handbook. My name is Rocket Snail and today we'll be taking a look on how to play Morgana. Think of this not as a guide but like an advanced spotlight to a champion, where you'll pick up the tips and tricks to take your play to the next level. Morgana's passive, Soul Siphon, grants 10, 15, or 20% spell vamp depending on your level. The sustain you get from Soul Siphon makes it a very strong laning tool. If you get a chance to use it on 5 or 6 creeps, the life you gain back can make the difference between you going back or staying to push and farm the next wave while the enemy doesn't get the chance. Spell Vamp is always a strong tool for baiting the same way Lifesteal can be. If you manage to land a good Dark Binding and Soul Shackle combo baiting someone, the amount of HP you regain with 20% Spell Vamp running is actually incredible, and it can easily turn an all-in. Morgana's Q, Dark Binding, is a long-range skill shot that roots the target hit in place for 2 to 3 seconds depending on its level. Being able to land skill shots is an important skill to have on the Rift, and that rings more true for Morg than most other champions. Landing bindings is probably the most important thing about playing Morgana. It can make or break a gank, team fight, or trade. Always make sure to fire a binding where you think the enemy will be. A strong tactic is to deny the directions of movement for a champion before you let loose a shot. Let him lead you, but don't fire until he has ran out of directions in which he could dodge. In most cases, this will lead to you landing a skill shot or him blowing a flash. Also, try not to throw out any of the Hail Mary skill shots. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about, where if you miss, it's by a mile, but if it hits, you're godlike. I mean, be my guest if you have blue or mana to spare, but try not to overdo it. Morgana's W, Tormented Soil, is an AoE damage over time spell that also lowers magic resistance the more time you spend in the AoE. Tormented Soil is a spell that defines Morgana's laning phase. This is your life while laning. It is your farming tool, your pushing ability, and your passive spell vamp catalyst. Put the circle down on as many creeps as possible, sit back, last hit if you need to, and rake in the dough. People also tend to underestimate the MR reduction that this ability has. More often than not, a squishy will have around about 40 MR, and at rank 5 that is exactly the amount you're taking off with Tormented Soil. The downside to using Tormented Soil to farm is it will always push your lane, and that sounds bad, right? Wrong. With good use of her Binding, Black Shield, and Soul Shackle, Morgana can escape terrible situations, so you shouldn't have a problem being farther out than you should be. The only thing to look out for with her W is if you're laning against an opponent that can push harder than you. If you start to notice that you can't match the speed in which he pushes, save the AoE until you can manage the wave, then collect as many as possible. Morgana's E is Black Shield, aka the 1-point wonder. I could go all day telling you about how to use this ability, but just remember when all goes to hell, this is what you're falling back on. It places a shield around a friendly target absorbing magic damage and preventing all disables while the shield is up. Black Shield is what makes ganking Morgana seem like an impossible task. As a jungler watching your only crowd control ability go to waste, you should think it over next time you choose to gank her. More often than not, she'll walk right past you, lying in wait until she could land a good binding under turret. Being able to shield an ally is just icing on the cake. Watching your ADC kite through waves of crowd control, and laughing as your bruiser walks right through their tank line to disrupt a carry. This is what makes Morgana such a fun and rewarding champion to play. Morgana's R, Soul Shackles, tethers all enemy champions within a certain range, dealing damage and slowing them. If the tether isn't broken within 3 seconds, more damage is dealt and the targets will be stunned. This spell is very versatile. From diving straight into 5 people to more sophisticated all-ins on a single champion, this spell is a huge factor when it comes to Morgana's damage and crowd control potential. Pairing Soul Shackles with Zhonya's Hourglass is one of the more natural skill to item combos you'll see in the game. In fact, most Morganas in a solo lane will rush to this item, praising the amount of damage and safety you receive from it. The nature of Soul Shackles kind of dictates that Morgana should build semi-tanky. I'm not telling you to go off and buy Giant's Belts all game, but Abyssal Scepter, Leander's Torment, and Rod of Ages become very good when on Morgana, and it should never be overlooked. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for me and Morgana. I hope you enjoyed what you saw and heard, and I hope you picked up a little something you can use on the battlefield. This has been Rocket Snail, and I'll see you on the Rift.